Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I've got a lot of high-scoring tiles, so I'm not seeing a bingo here. My preference is to get rid of W and F if I can, which I can do with WOF. P and C aren't terrible together, especially with an O. Sorry, especially with the E and the R, because I have the pre-prefix. But can I do better than this? I could play Force, but that retains W and P, and they do not go well together. What other options use 2 or 3 of my high-scoring tiles? I'm not seeing anything which uses 3 of them. So I am going with this. I draw more scoring tiles, 1 more in the B, and as soon as you hit 3 scoring tiles, your bingo prospects substantially diminish, which is why you try and hold on to either 0 or 1 scoring tile after each move, if you can. However, this is a very balanced rack, no duplicates, so I should have a lot of scoring options. And I should certainly be able to play off 2 of the 3 scoring tiles. Simply on my rack I've got Cob, which would do the job. And I've drawn an S, which is good. Now, opponent has also got scoring tiles, so we may end up burning through them in the early part of the game. Let's see. Now, the V really blocky because there are no 2-letter V plays, and VIF has obstructed plays parallel to WOF, so this is a tight board. There's nowhere for me to play Cob. I could play Calp, and that has some merit. It's super blocky. And it takes an S in front, which I've got, so although it's super blocky, it does allow 1 bingo lane. Well, 2 bingo lanes because Calp takes an S on the end as well. And should opponent take that bingo lane, he'll be providing a ton of floaters and providing access to column 1 triple word squares. However, I am retaining the least bingo-y of my scoring tiles. So is there a better option? This is just 15 points. Let me put this back. What if I were to play Cobs? 13 more points, and providing absolutely nothing. Opponent is really going to struggle to score here, apart from playing down from the B. I think this is a better play. I am going with it. I have Procure, which does play row G because of you. Wow, fantastic. And Krupa is its anagram. That doesn't play. If opponent does play down from the B, he will be creating new floaters, plus he'll be leaving row G alone. So, will I be able to bingo? If opponent doesn't want to play down from the B, or can't, playing in row G is the next natural spot to play, and he could be blocking all of my bingos. Fantastic! He's left alone row G. I've also got a further option in row M with Procured. And that's going to score more because the play will get doubled. So how about row O with the T? Well, I have Corrupt, but that leaves an E on my rack. I have Producer through the D, but that doesn't get doubled. What about the N? No, I'm not seeing a play through that. So, Procured it is for 78. And I draw the first blank. Fantastic. The rest of the rack are a bit of a horror show. Another shipload of high-scoring tiles, which I'll be looking to jettison as soon as possible to get value from my blank with a bingo. Now, the C is useful for my H and K, so I could play Hock in column 4, getting rid of one of the H's and a K. Is there a way of getting rid of 3 of my high-scoring tiles? Great, Hock remains available. And that's quite nice. While I don't have a bingo, I'd like to keep the board tight. And hopefully then opponent may open it up to enable me to play my bingo. Now, wow, tempting. Very tempting. Hawk. 34 points. Much bigger score than Hock. What does Hock score? 26, so it's 8 more points. I am wincing because I'm creating access to column 1. H takes an S plus a whole load of vowels. And opponent's play of POW, playing off just 2 tiles, suggests he's likely to be holding on to 5 good ones. Let me take this back. Can I boost the score some more? Hokum is good. No U for that. That's blocked by the Sea of Cops. Just wondering if I could get my K tripled, then the score would certainly justify the play. Core is good, but that's only 4 letters long. I'm inclined to play Hock. It's an 8-point sacrifice, but it's providing very little. A bingo in column 3 is face value, and it's really providing virtually nothing. So I think this is a better play, but can I do better than this? 14 minutes on my clock. H can go between W and O, but that's all I can play. What about playing Hick? Let me see what that scores. 25 points. So Hock was more. And I certainly don't wish to play my blank in that spot, so I don't think I do have a play in that spot which doesn't use the blank. I'm going back to Hock for 26. Great, I draw vowels. I retained none. So I've drawn 3 vowels and now do have a balanced rack. I will have 7s on this rack. There will be 8s. But are any of them playable? So let me consider 8s first of all, because a bingo with the T would probably score the most. I have methanol, and that plays fantastic. So I have a bingo in my back pocket. It's face value, but it's a great starting point. Basically, I can look for other bingos, and at any point I can cut that process dead and play my bingo. So what about a play beginning with T? That feels less likely. What about a play through the N? That could begin A-N. Anthemal, I don't think is good. What about a play beginning with I? Could begin H-I or M-I. Is High Elah Man good? Crikey. What am I thinking of? High Elah Man for 83. And it is! Fantastic! Fantastic. So, much bigger score than methanol, and a much nicer word. I've drawn an absolute horror show of a rack, but look at this, I lead by 150. And this isn't a great comeback board. If opponent has really got to bingo now, and if he doesn't, I'm probably going to strangle the bottom right of the board. And that probably means I won't be playing my cue straight away. There are no obvious Q spots. Yeah, this is what opponent doesn't have a bingo. He's done the strangling himself. So, what am I going to do? My takes nothing in front, so there's slim pickings down the bottom. Probably something like Meg is all I can do, but that's creating a lane. Liars has extinguished all lanes, and opponent has racked his rack because he's played 5 tiles. No 2-tile keep is great. And he's also burned R, E, and S, all good bingo-y tiles. So, what am I going to do? Well, not obvious. The board is so tight that I am struggling to find anywhere to play. It would be nice to play BGM. None of BGM goes well with the Q, but there's nowhere to play that. If I play in column 2, I've got the E for going next to the L, but nothing goes in front of UH, so I'm going to get a low score, and I'm going to open access to column 1. Now, I'm thinking about playing Gem. It scores slightly less than Meg, but placing the G in column 15 is a useful floaters for bingos ending ing. Very few bingos end in M, and I'm far less worried about non-bingos. Only 22 points. I am keeping B and Q, but this is better than changing. What's better than this? I just don't like keeping B and Q. Is there a play down onto AR? Well, what about playing Jemmy? It's the same tiles as Gem and Meg. It's 26 points, which is good. And I am opening bingo lanes, but they're not massively useful. The worst that can happen is a double-double ending in A. And I'm going to take that risk. Well, no U. So nowhere to get rid of the Q. No A for cat, but I do now have a T for that. Loads of I's to come and plenty of time, so the Q will go. It's just going to destroy my bingo prospects until it's gone. Now, I don't have a vowel for going in front of the G. It would be nice to take that bingo lane out. Well, opponent does that for me. Plus, he's provided a Q spot, and I'm inclined to take it. There's nowhere great to play the remainder of the tiles. And I'd like to make up a little bit of time. So, Chi for 11. Do I want to do this? I didn't properly consider plays going over the W last turn. And therefore also this turn. So I could have a BE something play. Well, I think I'd rather get rid of the Q. And I do now draw an I. No bingo on this rack, but it's pretty balanced. And I could play low buy. And probably other options. Low buy takes a G, still 2 Gs to come. Column 2 is a bingo lane for bingos ending next to the L or ending ED, but its face value and will open up column 1. My lead isn't huge. It's sort of shrunk somewhat, just a single bingo. 32 points for opponent. That's why it's shrunk. Juice takes a G in front. Well, I think I am now drawn to row G. And I'm wincing because I've got Belai. But what about playing Belitai? Turning over tiles, 17 points. I'm only opening row H. And row H kills column 2. as a 7-letter lane. And I'm turning over lots of tiles with only 30 tiles in the bag, including a blank and an S. All of which I dodge, both of which I dodge. And I'm vowel heavy, but I retained 2 vowels. No scoring tiles. Well, I'll certainly be playing in row H if opponent doesn't. I've got A and N for going underneath the Z and the Q. Do I have something longer? Wow, 46 points, so my lead is just 40 now. Maybe that was Spalletti was slightly reckless, I don't know. And I'm looking at column 2 at the bottom. Do I have a vowel vowel play? And I don't think I do, because I certainly want to split up the duplicate I. Still 3 I's to come. By doesn't take any vowels in front that I've got. Wow, my playability was designed to slightly create opportunities for a parallel play should opponent play in row H, but Toxin has not made that work out. Gosh, AN here, 26 points, which is really good. Terrible rack leave. Well, I can improve the rack leave slightly by playing Een. Still 26 points, which is a good score. And look how tight the board is. T is quite useful. O is not particularly useful. And I think 26 points is better than anything I'm going to get in column 1, which sorts the rack out and plays through the T. Let me just check. Do I have inertia? Wow, 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 wow. Good grief. Good grief, I do. Fantastic inertia, 59. Bang. And I practically draw it again. Wow. Good grief, I wasn't considering a bingo through the T. I was just about to illustrate how little I could score by playing through it. And there it is. So my lead goes back to 100. And I've drawn quite well. And it's a very similar rack, vowel heavy, all 1-pointers. And there are bingos with these racks, but they're tricky to see. Inertia is massively high probability, but it's so swamped with vowels, it's jolly tricky to see. Okay, there goes the G hook. An opponent only plays vowels. How frustrating. So, what do I have here? I would have iteration, I think. If I could start 1 square above the top of the board in column 5. Yeah, well, I can't. And that was a good score for opponent. He's only a bingo behind, and the remaining tiles super bingo-y. Inertia has taken out the left of the board. Bingo's beginning I and N. That's a restriction. E is most useful. And I'm in the same position as before of contemplating a play down through that E to take it out as a useful floater and to turn over tiles. 14 tiles left. So what about doing this? Iterate, completely trashing the rack. Only the X has gone, and the Q, so this just isn't as dangerous. The P can go there, and the D, but not as part of a bingo. Only 8 points, but I'm rapidly emptying the bag. Ague or ague takes a V in front, and there is one to come, but that's not bingo-y. I'm going with this. Wow, not good. However, look at the remaining tiles. They are so bingo-y. However, I'm not sure there is a however. I'm 80 points ahead. Yeah, the however is that I've got the P for going next to the I, and the V for going next to ague or ague. But I don't have a 5-letter play ending in P, and I can't play the V and the P off in the same move, and I'm not sure I can get a V play doubled. And likewise with a P play. And given that my lead is only a bingo and the remaining tiles are so bingo-y, I'm in quite a vulnerable position. Okay, well, the remaining tiles are massively bingo-y. What do I do about row A? Wow, I am only 50 points ahead. So I can't empty the bag. However, if I don't empty the bag, I would still like to score well with this move. 4 minutes on my clock. So where can is there anywhere I can play off just V and I? I could play Via for very little score. What I'd like to do is play off those tiles and score. And I've only got 4 minutes on my clock. And if I can't score with the V, I can play Div. That's quite good because the D may be useful for opponent and the V is completely unuseful. I'm leaving one tile in the bag, and this is quite a bingo-y 5-letter set. This has got to be the play. I'm going with this. No bingo here. Well, there's Pantine. It doesn't play right now. Nothing with the S. Look how bingo-y these tiles are. I'm waiting for it to come down. But then opponent will have just one tile. And can I score enough with this to outrun opponent? Do I have a 5-letter play ending in P? I think there may be 2 7s here. Here we go. Oh wow, opponent's got a triple. That is lights out, I think. Well, no, I can win with a bingo. So I have Pantine and Pinnate. And neither plays. Okay, so 3 minutes on my clock. Where are the other bingo lanes? Column 12, ending in A. Not seeing anything. Iterate, well, row E isn't a bingo lane. 2 minutes on my clock. Yeah, I do need a bingo to win. And I don't have one, so I now need to look to minimize the losing spread. Always painful words to say. So I've got Nip for 21. Can I do any better than that? Now, I never did get around to using the Z and Q spots. Not seeing anything. Okay, I'm going to go with the Nip. Great bingo by opponent in a strange. But if I have had a playable bingo, I would have won. And the final score, 389 for me, 449 for my opponent, a winning margin of 60 points. So well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. Yeah, I agree. But a miracle that was very well played for. Now, it was me to go first, and I played Woff, and Kaup was the alternative, which retained the F. So, difficult to choose between those two. Opponent's rack, not great, plays Vith. And I played Cobs here for 28, and I like that. Opponent's rack plays Bandit, which is fantastic because I can get procured down, and I think Croupier was also available through the, not through the eye, where is that? N3, through the eye of Bandit. Opponent's rack plays Pow, so let's see if he was retaining a fantastic rack. He was retaining a good rack, not a fantastic one. DILRS, yeah, slightly needing a vowel. Now my rack, and I thought about Hawk for 34, and then went with Hock for 28. Opponent's rack plays Ludo, and now I play Hyela Man for 83, and Methanol was the only other bingo. So delighted to spot that. Opponent plays Liars, and I'm 100 points ahead, and the board is quite non-bingo-y, so I felt very much in control at this point. And I played Jemmy for 26, which looks fine. Opponent plays Zig, and I've still got my 100-point lead. And I get rid of my Q at this point. M12, Meat. Yeah, quite nice, but the rack leave is awful. So I played Chi for 11, 9 fewer points. Is BWELOT 9 points better than BLOQ? Well, both of these rack leaves are incredibly hard to evaluate, I think, but I'll have a go. So BWELOT, I would say, is probably very close to neutral, but probably slightly negative, perhaps -3. BLOQ, very negative, and possibly -15, which would be a 12-point gap, and there's only a 9-point score gap, so that would make Chi a better play, but completely dependent on the accuracy of the leave evaluations. Now, opponent's rack plays Juice, and my lead has shrunk, but it's still 75 points. And I play, wow, missed bingo, Love Bite. Wow, wow, wow. I did not consider the V as a floater for a bingo. Wow. Okay, gosh, well, that would have been a fantastic time to bingo with a lead of 70 points. My lead would have doubled, but I missed it and play Elite instead, a very lame 17 points by comparison. Love Bite would have enabled opponent to play Toxins for a good score, but that doesn't matter. It was definitely a miss. Now, opponent plays Toxin, and this really brings him back into the game, except that I'm able to bingo with Inertia. So I felt really in really good shape now. 100 points in the lead, pretty non-bingo-y rack. Pretty non-bingo-y board, rather. Opponent plays Ague. And now I decided just to take out the E as a floater and turn over tiles to try and, well, pretty much anything I draw is going to be bingo-y, so there's no problem with wrecking the rack. So I play Iterate, M12 Meat. Well, that would have left the E alone as a useful floater, so I'm still happy with my play. Horrible rack for opponent. Plays Soddy. Wow, I perhaps understand now more his comment about it being a miracle from this position where he's 80 points behind with only 8 tiles in the bag and this rack. It was winning the game must be very, very low probability-wise. So opponent plays Soddy, burning his S. So what does he actually keep with that? GR, wow. And now this is my rack, and I play div to leave 1 in the bag and to leave a good rack leave and to score well. So I still like div. What other options here burn just 2 tiles? And I do need to leave 1 in the bag because there are bingo lanes on this board, and if I empty the bag, a bingo will instantly win for opponent. B3. Interesting. I could have played PI in column 3. Not the pi that's here, but just PI. And that would have taken out all of the bingo lanes at the top. Opponent may have had a bingo down onto the A, but it wouldn't have been a triple-triple. And I would have had good scoring spots through it. So I think PI retaining the V would have been the play. I played div. And now look at this. Opponent has a strange for 131. And all of his bingos are going through that S. Every single one of them. Now, was there a win? No, there wasn't. And penny at A14. Okay, so there were longer plays in column 14. I played nip for 21. Slightly fewer points. And finally, opponent goes out with Tsar. So what a game. I was in great shape. I had a big lead. It was a tight board, but it's never over until it's over. And opponent staged a magnificent comeback, playing soddy right towards the end, keeping a rubbish rack and drawing some dream tiles and being able to benefit from my failure to shut down that S. So many congratulations to my opponent, and thanks to him for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.